All right. All right. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, and good evening, everyone. Okay, so what actually that we want to discuss today is to continue, okay, our discussion based on last week topics, which is we only managed to discuss on chapter 1. Okay. So today I will actually proceed on chapter 2 and chapter 3. All right, before I proceed on chapter 2 and 3, okay, so I would like to actually, oh, wait, okay, okay. So I would like to repeat again, yeah, on chapter 1, okay, these are all the sections, yeah, these are all the sections, okay, that you should have, okay.
这个老师是我的前任导师。
Okay, that you should have in your chapter 1. Okay, so it starts, okay, with the introduction. Okay, and then we go to the background of the studies. Okay, and then we have problem statement. Okay, research objective, and next research questions, significance of the study, scope of the study, limitation, operational definitions, and summary. Okay, these are all in chapter 1. Okay. And then some of you asking me whether is it the same, okay, for qualitative, okay? So is it the same for qualitative? Okay, for your information, okay, when it comes to this chapter, okay, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 are all the same for quality and quali. It is just that, okay, when it comes to the discussion, it will be a bit different, okay, from because we're looking into two different methods, right, quantitative and qualitative. The biggest difference will be in chapter, the one that you might actually have a big difference in chapter 3, okay, whereby in qualitative we don't have reliability and validity, just that, okay. For other sections, okay, it will be the same, okay. And then we're looking into all these, okay, sections, okay, when it comes to the introduction, okay, of course, okay, as I mentioned to you, okay, last week, that, okay, when we look at introduction, this is the general introduction of the topic. So when it comes to quantitative, we start with, okay, the introduction of the DV, right? So, but when it comes to qualitative, we don't have DV and IB, okay? We don't have DV and the IB. So here, okay, what actually that you need to discuss is actually what is the topic that you want to explore, okay? So the topic is the one that you need to discuss, okay, in the background of the studies. And then when it comes, okay, in the introduction, and then when it comes to the background of the studies, it's still the same thing, okay, looking into the topic, okay, but now here we look at the context, okay, where actually that, okay, the studies, okay, look, the location, who is the respondent, okay, and then probably, okay, is it in a primary school or secondary school, okay, that is all the context, okay, of the studies, right? And then when it comes to problem statement, okay, still looking at the topics, okay, still looking at the topics. And when it comes to research question, research objective and research question, usually when it comes to qualitative, we don't have research objective, okay. The one that we have in qualitative is purpose of the study. Okay, what is the purpose of the study? To explore what? Okay, to explore what? And then when it comes to the questions, okay, of course in quantitative, okay, you will have question for IV and question for the DV, as well as question, okay, that looking into the relationship between IV and DV. Still remember, okay, the one that I've discussed is here. All right, but, okay, when it comes to qualitative, okay, of course there will be no DV and IV, okay, but then, okay, what do you want to explore, okay, in the topic, okay, of your research, okay, and then when it comes to the questions, okay, qualitative will focus more on the question which start from why and how. Okay, in quanti, you don't have why and how. And how. Okay, you don't have question of why and how. In qualitative, okay, you should start with why and how. Of course, we can start with what. Okay, start with what is fine. Okay, but you must have a question why and how, because qualitative is in-depth studies. When you say in-depth, okay, it will be, okay, you need to know more. In order for you to know more, okay, you should start your question with why and how. Okay, and then quantitative is just testing. Okay, so when it comes to testing, okay, meaning that, okay, the question will be to determine, I mean, the objective will be to determine something, okay, to examine something. But when it comes to qualitative, okay, it will be to explore. It's not to determine, it's not to examine, it's to explore. Okay, so when you have the question to explore, that is indicate that topic, I mean, that research is actually qualitative. Okay, and the questions, okay, when you look at the questions, okay, there might be one question with what, and then you have questions start with why and how. That is qualitative. Okay, the significance of the studies, the scope of the studies, okay, limitation, operational definitions, okay, are all the same. Okay, are all the same. Do we have Huang here? Don't have Huang. I think Huang is the only person who will do qualitative. Okay.
Yes, doctor.
Yes. Okay, Huang. All right. So, can you share, okay, with the class, okay, your research questions, okay, and your research, the purpose of the studies and your research question, so that we can look at it, okay, and on how actually that we should write, okay, a purpose of the studies and a research question for qualitative studies. Do you have it?
Okay. Yes, I have.
All right. Yeah.
Research question and the risk.
Okay. Please share, yeah? Share the screen. Let me stop this one. All right.
Share. Sorry,
Yeah.
doctor. Share my screen.
Yeah. Share. Do you have it in Word documents or in slides? Or
Sorry,
you
doctor.
just write it down?
I write it down. And
okay. If that is the case, then can you just type it, okay, in the chat window?
I share my window.
Okay, right. Type it in the chat in that, okay, the box, the
Okay.
chat box. Oh, okay. Yep.
The number one, this is my research question.
Okay, wait, let me change this one a bit. Research questions. Okay. Why do universities administrator have to be innovative? Okay, can we look at your topic?
Okay, doctor. And this is my topic.
Oh, okay. Relationship between innovation quality and work competencies among universities administrated staff. Okay, with this kind of topic, is it quantitative or qualitative?
Sorry, doctor. It's qualitative.
Quantitative. So you change your mind? You don't want to do qualitative?
Qualitative.
Are you sure this is qualitative? Anyone would like to comment on this? Why is it's not qualitative?
Because it's a relationship.
Yes. Okay. Look at that. The relationship. Huang, when you put that relationship, that is quantitative. It's not qualitative. Okay. This is a very direct, yeah. Relationship between, okay. We know your IV, we know your DV here. Okay, this is the IV and this is the DV. Okay, so when we look at this title relationship, this is clearly quantitative and not qualitative. All right, so when you have, okay, might be qualitative, okay, it will be, for example, might be the topic, okay, will be like to explore, okay, to explore the process of innovation, okay, to explore the process of innovation among university administrative staffs, okay, in China. That is qualitative because there's no IV, there's no DV. Okay, so what you want to explore here is the process of innovation, for example. Okay, so your research is about process of innovation. Okay, that is the example. All right, so if you have this kind of topic, okay, with the word relationship, okay, and then we can see your IV and DV here, this is not qualitative, this is quantitative. Okay, Huang?
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, doctor. I will change it.
Do you want to do quantitative or you want to do qualitative? Okay, think about it.
Because
Okay, think about it and decide and discuss with your supervisor. Okay, so when you present, okay, in the first presentation, okay, so we know whether you want to do quantitative or qualitative. All right, so discuss with your supervisors. All right, I mean supervisor, yeah, I think it's Dr. Haize, right? It's your supervisor, Dr. Haize. All right, so discuss
yes,
yeah. Okay, so discuss with him which one actually that you want to do. Okay, usually, okay, for MED, okay, majority of the student doing quantitative. Okay, why is because when you learn research method, okay, the focus is more on quantitative. Okay, only few, might be one or two in one batch here, will be doing qualitative. Okay, it is not that we don't want you, okay, to do qualitative, but it's just that, okay, when you learn about statistics, okay, that is on quantitative. Okay, and you don't have a class to learn on how to analyze qualitative data. Okay, there's no class. Okay, in your structure of the studies, in the structure of your studies, there's no class, okay, where you learn about how to analyze qualitative data. You don't have that class or course, okay, in the structure of your study. That's why many of you, which is master education, okay, they doing quantitative instead of qualitative. Okay, only one or two, okay, doing qualitative. All right. So before I proceed on the second chapter, yeah, okay, explain, okay, in detail on each of the section in chapter 2, okay. Any questions, okay, for chapter 1? Maybe there's something,
Doctor.
okay, that is still not clear. Okay, Huang, can you please stop sharing?
Excuse me, doctor.
Yes, Ratika.
Yeah, a 1.9 operational definition, right?
Yeah.
Can you please explain more on how to write constitutive definition?
Okay. This is one of the things sometimes even we among lecturers argue about, okay, what actually that we should write. Okay, is it conceptual definition? Is it operational definition? Or is it constitutive definition? Okay, so this, because these three is actually have a different definition. All right. And then of course at the same times, okay, this is according to your supervisors, yeah, this is according to your supervisors on what definition that you should focus, okay, in this 1.9. All right. If it's me, okay, if it's my students, okay, I will put it as operational definition. Okay, why is it that I put it as operational definition? Okay, this is where actually that, okay, I want the students, okay, to define the concept, okay, to define the concept first based on the definition by the scholar, okay. So here you can refer to two scholars, all right? One or two, okay? One or two scholars, okay, when it comes to the definition of the concept. And after that, okay, you will put it as, what is your definition? Okay, what is your definition in the studies? Okay, what is the definition of that concept in your studies? So it will be a different definition, might be, which is still according to the scholar, but probably, okay, you will add a few things there. Okay, so this is where actually that, okay, when it comes to the operational definitions, okay, and then it's quantitative. This is as well, okay, you will put it as, okay, how do you measure the concept? Okay, how do you measure the concept? This is where, okay, you will put it down as, okay, it will be measured by using, okay, what is the instruments that you're using? Okay, what is the instrument? Okay, and you just put it as who is the owner of the instruments, and in what year is that? Okay, and sometimes, okay, it will be a bit detailed if that instrument, if that concept have a dimension, okay, has a dimension. Okay, so you need to list down what is the dimension. Okay, so that we know this is the concept, based on the scholar, this is the definition, but in the study, that is the definitions that you're using. Okay, and after that, how do you measure it? Okay, it based, okay, on these instruments. Okay, and in these instruments, they divided, okay, this concept, okay, by three dimensions. Okay, so you will actually list down that. All right, so I think, okay, this is sometimes up to supervisors. Okay, how actually that they want their students to do it. Is it conceptual definition, operational definition, and some of it use it as constitutive definition. Okay, usually for my student, I use operational definitions. I never use that constitutive definitions, because I learn it from my guru, okay, from my sifu, and that is how actually that, okay, my sifu teach me. Okay, this is one thing that you need to remember. Okay, sometimes when you look at thesis, okay, you go to the library or you just Google and go to the library online, and then you will find a lot of theses, right? And in that thesis, you will find, okay, some theses, okay, will have this kind of arrangement, and then they put the explanation. And then when you look at another thesis, it will be a different one. Okay, it will be different, even though we're in the same area, which is education. Okay, so this is where actually that, okay, it's not that one is right and one is wrong. No, it is not that. Okay, it is just that, okay, each student have, okay, or has their supervisor, and whenever they prepare their thesis, okay, or their dissertation, is based on the supervisor. Okay, so whatever that the supervisor actually, okay, teach the student, that is how actually the student doing it. All right, so sometimes, okay, you will see like they have a different kind of explanation, okay, in the sections. Okay, but that is normal, because it based on the supervisor. Who is your supervisor? That is your sifu, and that is how actually that you're doing it. That's what I say in the first class. Okay, I'm here to help you, okay, to improve your dissertation. You improve your proposal. Okay, whatever that I have here is just my comments. Okay, it's just my suggestion. Okay, whatever it is, okay, you need to go back to your supervisor and discuss with your supervisor. I'm not the one here to decide. Okay, your supervisor, when you need to discuss with your supervisor and decide. All right, so here is for me to give you suggestions on how to do it. Okay. All right, is that clear, Ratika? All right, okay.
Yes, actually you are my supervisor, doctor.
All right, okay. Okay, if that is the case, then that is how actually I'm doing it. Okay, I put it as operational definition, but okay, I know that if you joined, okay, some of this research method class, okay, the lecturer will actually explain about the constitutive definition. I understand that. Okay, I know that. right? So, but if it's with me, I'm put it as operational definitions, okay? Let me check whether I have the sample or not, okay? Because the one that I have, it might be the PhD level, okay? Because I don't have the one with the master science, okay? Let me check, yeah. This study is wait. All right, good. This is a bit long when it comes to the definitions, okay, but I just want to share it with you, okay. This is the one, okay, by PhD students, right? So this is when it comes to the, okay, this is scope of the studies, okay, operational definitions, yeah, this is operation definitions, okay. For example here, okay, this is the IV, okay, organizational commitments, right? The IV is organizational commitments here. Okay, you will see that, okay, here, okay, this is definition by scholar. Okay, and then you will find that, okay, this is definition in this study. This is definition by scholar. This is definition in this study. And you will find here, okay, this is, okay, how actually that, okay, how is that, okay, that IV is actually measured. Okay, how the IV is actually measured. This is the one. Okay, so in these organizational commitments, okay, so this is the definition by scholar. Okay, you need to have, okay, the authors and the year there. But when you explain about your definition in the study, you don't need to quote because this is your definition. Okay, you did not actually follow any, I mean, the scholar. The scholar is in the first sentence here. Okay, and then here you will see, okay, this is what actually that, okay, the instrument that this student use, okay, when she wants to measure organizational commitments. In this case, okay, she used Mayer. Okay, in this case, she used Mayer here. Okay, that's why you put it, you can see that is categorized into 3 separate dimensions, and then she explained it. Okay, the 3 dimension here. Okay, and at the same times, okay, she also mentioned a bit briefly on the definition of each of the dimension. Okay, so the detail of this, okay, so when you have this in your operational definition, okay, first, when I look at your chapter 2, you need to have this person in chapter 2. Okay, and then you need to explain on Mayer in chapter 2 as well. If you're using Joe and Park 2010 as a scholar definition, and I don't see it in chapter 2, that is wrong. Okay, why? It's because chapter 1, that's why it named as introduction. Okay, that's why chapter 1 named as introduction, because here you just want to introduce. Okay, so in chapter 2, it will be a longer explanation on this definition. This is just a brief summary of whatever that you have in chapter 2. Okay, because in chapter 2, okay. All right, where is it? Chapter 2? Yes. Okay, in chapter 2, there's a section for you to explain on the definitions and concept. All right. So when I look at this, Joe and Park, okay, so I will flip your chapter 2 and I look whether Joe and Park is there in chapter 2. All right. And as well as here, Mayer, yeah, Mayer 2010. When I look at this Mayer 2010, I know that, okay, you are using the instrument by Mayer, and then in this, and then when I flip that chapter 2, there might be a theory which explain about organizational commitment that have all these 3 dimensions in chapter 2. Okay, why is because, okay, is because chapter 2, okay, you must have all this section, okay, whereby it start with the introduction, okay, and then you have, okay, 2.2 is DV. What does it mean here is that, okay, you need to explain, okay, on the definition of your DV, definition and concept of your DV. So you will explain it here, okay. So in the chapter 1, you only quote one scholar. Here, you need to have more than one scholar, whereby you will explain, okay, based on the, organization commitment, okay, for example, that organizational commitments is defined, okay, by scholar A as this, by scholar B as this, by scholar C as this, and by scholar D as that. Okay, you will actually, okay, explain all that from few scholars, okay, and then towards the end of it, this is where actually that, okay, due to all the above definitions that you have explained, okay, then, okay, in this study, okay, organizational commitments, okay, is defined as what? So that is what actually that you take that and put it in your chapter 1. Okay, put it in chapter 1. So here this is on DV, okay? You need to start with the DV. So sometimes, okay, when this is, I put it as just definition and concepts, okay? Most probably, okay, you will explain as well, okay, on the dimensions of the DV. Just now, it's stated there, okay, it's have 3 dimensions. Then you explain that, okay, in dimension. As well as might be, okay, these organization commitments, okay, for example, that I have that organization commitments, okay, according to other people, okay, they actually come up with different dimensions. Okay, only mayors come up with that, the 3 dimension just now. So that is as well, you explain it in this chapter 2. And then when you already explain that, okay, you need to actually, okay, give justification out of so many dimension by other scholars. Why is it that you use, okay, mayors? Okay, so that's why in chapter 2, people will say that, okay, you need to have, this is a very, what they put as a critical writing. You need to have critical writing. Why is it critical writing in chapter 2? Is because, okay, you will actually compare, for example, like definition from few scholars, okay, and then from there, which one that you decide to be your definition. And then you compare as well about the dimensions, okay, whatever it is, okay. Probably other scholars have a different dimensions in measuring, okay, organizational commitment, OC, okay. So you will decide, okay, why is it are so many, okay, dimensions that we have in organizational commitment or OC here, okay, you choose mayors and not other scholars. Okay. So here, okay, when you look at this one, okay, after you explain about the DV, okay, on the concepts, on the definitions, okay, you need to explain about the theory related to the DV. Okay, theory related to the DV. Okay, probably here, okay, what you explain is, okay, might be few theories, okay, related to the DV. Can be theory A, theory B, and theory C. Okay, but, okay, from this theory A, theory B, and theory C, which is related to the OC just now, okay, so which theory that you use? So towards the end, okay, of this section is for you to explain, okay, there's a few theory related to OC, but in this study, which theory that they use and why? Justification. Okay, justification. All right.
Question.
Yes.
When you say just now, we can choose, then we have to we have to justify why we choose one or two scholars after so many scholars that we have made comparison. Is there any limitation on the number of scholars that we prefer?
No, there's no limitation. in doing research, okay, you have to do a lot of readings. Okay, when you have only 2 definition or 3 definitions, okay, to compare in your definition, I know that you don't have enough reading. Okay, I know that you don't have enough reading. The same as when it comes to theory. Okay, when I mentioned it, okay, you need to explain first about all the related theories, all the related theories, okay, based on the DV here, okay, for example, and then you only explain about 2 theories. Okay, 2 theories might be related. So here, okay, probably might be some, of course, okay, it will be like, okay, only 2 theories related. Okay, it's logic. All right. But then, okay, if it's me, I will ask that students, okay, based on your readings, only 2 theories is related. Okay, there's no other theories related, you know. So because research is about reading. Okay, read, and then after you read, you understand. Okay, and then when you read and understand, okay, you need to apply your critical thinking. Okay, which one is the best to use in these studies? Okay, you need to apply that critical thinking. And then when you choose one, okay, you need to have a reason, a very valid reason, a valid justification out of so many definitions. Why is it? Okay, I construct my definition like this. Out of so many theories, okay, why is it that I choose this? Okay, this is the same, okay, for your DV and IV. If you have, okay, 2 DV, of course, there will be one more section which is discuss about the DV. So it's up, if you only have 1 IV and 1 DV, the arrangement will be this way. Okay, but then if you have 2 IVs, of course, there will be one more section, okay, which is to explain about, because here will be the IV1, okay, and then there will be another section will be IV2. Okay, and then there will be another section probably here. Okay, it will be IV2. Right. So here IV2, and then this number, then you need to change it. Okay, because we explain the definition and concept based on how many variables that you have, and each variable, okay, you need to explain it in the different section. Okay, because why we need to explain it in different sections. Okay, in doing research, as well as when you are actually measure in each of the variable, okay, DV will probably use a different instrument. Your IV1 will will use different instrument, and IV2 will use different instruments. Okay, that's why you need to explain, because your IV1 and IV2 is different. Okay, but if you don't have IV2, okay, and then, okay, the arrangement probably this way. Okay, probably this way, which is, okay, explain about the definition and concept, okay, of the DV, and then IV1, okay, your IV, because you only have IV1, okay, definition and concept, and then you have theory. Okay, so most probably after the concept might be, you need to add, okay, other things which might be you feel that it's very important, okay, it's very important to add, which related to the IV, might be factors or whatever, you can do that one as well. Because the one that I have is very basic, okay, a very, what is required in chapter 2. But if you want to add more in each of the sections, okay, not a problem at all. Okay, not a problem at all. So here, okay, I think it's all clear, okay, when it comes to 2.1 until 2.5. Okay, some studies will need to have different theories when it comes to the IV and it comes to the DV. Not a problem at all to have 2 theories. Don't worry. Okay, but you probably have one theory which can explain both variables. It's happened as well. Okay, when you have one theory which can explain both variables, meaning that you don't have 2.3. Okay, so DV, IV, and then straight away to the theory, okay, of the IV and DV here. Okay, if you use the same theory to explain, okay, your IV and DV. All right, okay, so that is, okay, on the definitions and concept as well as theory. Okay, so when it comes to the theory, like this one, okay, theory related to, okay, wait, yeah, like more put this, okay. So here, when you have theory related to theory of IV, might be if it's only one theory, then you explain it one. If it's you have few theories that related to the IV, you can have few theories, okay, where you can split it as 151, okay, explain on theory 1, okay, and then you have 2.5.2, okay, explain on theory 2, okay, but remember towards the end of these two sections, you need to explain from these two theory that you explained above, which one that you use. Is it theory A or is it theory number 2? Theory 1 or is it theory number 2? Okay, and some research you will see, okay, they did not have a section whereby, okay, they explain on all the theory related to the IV and DV. They straight away explain the theory. Okay, you will see that they don't have this. Okay, they don't have explanation on theory related. They don't have that. Okay, they straight away feel that, okay, I want to use theory A, for example. They straight away explain theory A here. Okay, they straight away explain theory A here. You will find that as well. Okay, they will straight away explain theory A. There will be no other theories explained in this section. Only one theory, where that theory is the theory that, okay, you use in your dissertation or in your studies. Okay, so you will find that as well. For me, usually when it comes to my students, okay, I usually ask them how many theories related to this your IV and how many theories related to your DV, and then from there I will actually ask, okay, which theory that you think, okay, is the best to explain your IV and your DV. That's why, okay, if you are my student usually, okay, you have a section whereby theories related to IV and theories related to the DV. But so at the end of the paragraph, you will explain out of so many theories that you have explained above, okay, and then which one is the best to explain about the IV and DV. Okay, so this is where actually you can see the critical review. You explain and compare all the theories, and towards the end, you decide which one is the best for your studies. Okay, but if you don't have that, okay, so meaning that you only explain about one theory that you use. Okay, you only explain that, but don't worry, okay, that is as well, okay, you can do that one as well, not a problem at all. Okay, because sometimes the examiner or the reader, okay, will not ask you, okay, when they look, okay, there's a theory for IV, there's one theory for the DV, and then, okay, you're fine. Okay, because sometimes, okay, I always tell my student that, okay, based on your luck. Okay, based on your luck. Sometimes, okay, when you put it that way, okay, it's correct, okay, not sure, right? So it sometimes based on the luck as well. All right. So this, because I do have one PhD students, okay, when that person, that student write his chapter 2, it's not critical at all. So it's just like listing, you know, concept A, concept B, concept C, you know, just listing, and then put it in the different paragraph. Concept A explained in the first paragraph, concept B explained in the paragraph. There's no arguments or whatever in the writings. Okay, so I actually make a comment and say, okay, I don't see the critical review here. This is chapter 2. Where is the critical review? Okay, and that person, okay, show me one thesis which that person is actually already graduated, and show it to me and said, I follow this doctor. Okay, and then of course in that thesis there's no critical review or arguments. It's just listing, okay, by paragraph. Okay, so I just told my students that, okay, might be this person is so lucky, okay, that's why she can pass, okay, with that kind of arrangement or with that kind of writing. If I'm the examiner, of course, I'll make a comment and you have to reshuffle and organize it. All right. So sometimes when you look at other people thesis, other people dissertations, be careful. Okay, be careful because we're not sure the quality. All right, we're not sure the quality, right? So it's better for you, okay, to ask your supervisor if you don't understand, right? Okay, that is on, okay, the DV and IV, okay. And then, okay, 2.6, this is past studies, all right? This is past studies. When you explain about this, okay, these are all on the concept. Okay, these are all on the concept. When you explain this part, okay, what you explain is actually the findings. Past studies, okay, focus on the findings. Okay, this is where, okay, you will explain what is the IV and DV, okay, and then where is the locations, okay, of that studies, okay, and then who is the respondent, what types of methods, okay, that the study use, okay, and the main thing is, okay, what is the finding of the studies. And when you are actually arrange these past studies, okay, I put it as IV and DV. What does it mean here? Okay, it's actually, it is good, okay, if, okay, you explain, okay, your past studies, okay, based on research question. Research question 1, research question 2. And this is your research question 3. Remember in research question 1, you have level of DV, level of IV. This is what is it mean by that just now. Okay, so here we have level. Okay, level of DV, and then here you have level of IV, right? Can you get me?
Yes, Doctor.
All
Doctor,
right.
question. Like what you mentioned just now, it's easy to find the theory or the instrument for IV and then the instrument or DV for DV. But when it comes to relationship between the IV and DV, I think that is the toughest one. How is that, Doctor?
What do you mean the toughest one, Raza?
We should have another instrument to
Nope.
show the relationship
No,
between
no,
the
no,
IV
no,
and
no,
DV.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
You only measure IV, you only measure DV.
Okay.
Okay, and when you measure IV, okay, that is the level, right? And when you measure DV, that is the level as well, right? We're looking at the level, right? So when I say level here, okay, you're using descriptive statistics. So what does it mean by descriptive statistics? We only look at mean. Only look at mean, yeah, because we're using, if you're using Likert 5, okay, we will look at, okay, the mean, okay, the overall mean of the DV and overall mean of the IV. Okay, when you have overall mean of the DV here, okay, we're looking at the mean, yeah, looking at the mean of the DV and mean of the IV. So when we're looking in the relation, we actually look at the relationship, okay, this is where actually that we will run the correlation, okay, Pearson correlation, okay. So here what actually, okay, we will correlate the mean of DV with the mean of IV. So we don't need a third section to measure the relationship. No, we don't need that.
Okay, got it, Doctor. Other than Pearson, is t-test can be used, Doctor?
Okay, correlation is to identify or to measure, okay, to examine, okay, or to determine relationship. T-test is to measure difference. What does it mean difference? Okay, here you have IV, right? Okay, so here, okay, probably you can have one more research questions okay, where, okay, it focus on the, okay, might be difference, okay, RREN, of dV. When we look at the difference, it must have difference of dV, okay, based on what? Based on most probably gender. Okay, so we have female and male here. So this is why we run t-test. Okay, we run t-test to look at the difference between male and female, only looking at the dV. But if you have, okay, if you have, okay, 3 groups, okay, here we only look at the gender. Okay, might be, okay, we have 3 groups whereby we're looking into might be teaching experience. Okay, below 5, 5 to 10, 10 and above, we have 3 groups. That is where we run ANOVA. You will learn that when you take in statistics later. Okay, that is the statistic use. So relationship, it must be correlation. And then it's Pearson correlation. How, what, I mean, why, I mean, what actually that you need to run is Pearson correlation. Okay, so here, okay, so you only need, I mean, when it comes to your instrument, probably you have 3 sections. Okay, section 1 is the demographic or profile, okay, of the respondent. Okay, section 2 probably your DV, and section 3 is your IV. Only 3 sections. Okay, and then you key in everything, okay, in the SPSS. Okay, then we correlate the mean. Mean IV and mean DV, we correlate. Okay. Any question? All right. There is no question. All right. So here I ask you to change, I mean, to arrange your past studies based on your research question. Okay. So why is it that, okay, I ask you to do, to arrange your past studies based on research questions, okay? It will be easy for you later when you do your discussion part after you receive your finding. Okay, because, okay, in chapter 2 is actually you explain, okay, the finding of the past studies. Okay, the finding of past studies. That's why I asked you to categorize, I mean, to split it, okay, based on the research question. And then when you go to chapter 4 later, okay, that is the finding of your study. Okay, the finding of your study. And then when you explain on the discussion part, okay, discussion part usually some of the thesis, I mean some of the dissertation you will see in chapter 5 and some of it you will see in chapter 4. But lately, okay, we require, I mean, we suggest our, I mean, if it's me, I suggest my students to do that discussion part in chapter 4. Okay, but you will still find it sometimes in chapter 5. It can be in chapter 4, it can be chapter 5. Okay, so chapter 2 is finding of other research based on the past studies. Chapter 4 is finding of your research. When it comes to the discussion, you have to compare the finding of your research and the past studies. Okay, so whatever that you have in your discussion, when I flip chapter 2, I need to have that, okay, the names of the author and the year is still there and you explain that. Okay, to explain that. So when, I mean, dissertation is that way, you know, each chapters is actually related. If I look at chapter 5, okay, when it comes to discussion, you have so many discussion about past studies. Okay, but when I flip chapter 2, I don't find it there in chapter 2. That is wrong. Whatever that you discuss in chapter 5 or chapter 4, you must have that in chapter 2. That's why we put it as revisit chapter 2. Discussion part is actually revisit chapter 2. Meaning you compare your finding with other people findings. In this discussion, okay, you will actually explain what is the same, what is the different. Okay, is it your finding is the same as other research, or your finding is actually different, okay, as other research? If it's the same, then it's fine. If it's different, then you need to discuss. Why is it other research, okay, found it, there's a relationship. Suddenly in your case, in your studies, okay, you did not find the relationship. Okay, there must be something wrong there, because quantitative is testing. Okay, if many research found it, there's a relationship, and suddenly only your research found it, there's no relationship, there must be something wrong, probably with your instrument. Or might be you are actually target at the wrong respondent. If it's a wrong respondent, it will affect the findings as well. That's why methodology is so important. Okay, so here, okay, when it comes to these past studies as well, all right, and quantitative, okay, you need to refer to past studies that is only like within 5 years old from the year that you are doing. Okay, you can't quote the studies in the 2000. It's not valid. The one in 2000, is it still valid now into 2021? Of course not. Okay, so in quantitative, that's why they say make sure that you have, okay, the latest 5-year studies within that 5 years. Now with 2021, so probably you can refer to 2016, start from 2016 till this year, or you can start might be into 2015 as well. Okay, maybe you can start. This is where sometimes, okay, students find it so difficult to find these latest studies which is within these 5 years. Okay, because this is quanti. Okay, this is quanti. You must try to find, okay, that latest research, all right, within that 5 years, okay, from the year that you're doing, okay, your studies. All right, so that is on 2.6. But when you explain here, okay, the definition, the theory, this is fine if you quote the old books, okay, because this is where you explain about the old concept, how actually that it originate might be. So it's fine to have all those old quotes here. But when it comes to past studies, okay, this is where that 5 years, okay, is the must that you need to explain in this section. Yes, theory.
For our literature study, within that latest 5 years, and the combination can be from anywhere, or it should be certain portion from local and overseas.
Combination.
Or is it free?
Combination.
Okay.
Because if you only for, okay, sometimes this is based on what the context of your study. If your if your study focus in Malaysia and you only quote the one in overseas, right? So the context is different. Okay, like many of you here, from China, probably you want to do, okay, your research, okay, which is the respondent are actually those in China, okay, but then you quote all the studies in Malaysia or in the Western countries, okay, so that probably might be not valid. I mean, it's not really not valid, but it's just that, okay, how you want to compare your research, okay, with other research, okay, and then the context is different. Unless that research never be done in China or in Malaysia, then it's fine. Okay, never been done before. Okay, you can't find any research doing it in Malaysia. Okay, but you put it there. Okay, you put it there in your write-up saying that, okay, all research that you have looked at and that you have referred to are all focused might be, okay, in the Western countries, and there's no research has been done in Malaysia looking at the same thing. You need to
we can put it under limitation,
yes,
right?
That's true.
Limitation. For the latest years, none is.
Oh no, not the limitation, Raza. Okay, this is the one.
Okay.
Not the limitation. you need to explain it when you I mean in your write-ups when it comes to the past studies. Because
Okay.
limitation is different. Yeah, limitation is something that, okay, you can't control. Okay, so this is where actually you refer to other people's work. Okay, and then, okay, you try to search. Okay, you can't find any. Okay, probably, okay, this is where it's true, there's no research. Of course, you can just refer to the Westerns. Okay, no
And not
problem.
even stated in the discussion, Doctor. Limitation is okay, I understand. But and not even in the discussion.
Okay, if it's in the
Uh,
discussion, okay, of course you say,
okay.
okay, the findings that you have is in Malaysia, okay, and then other is actually in other country or in other states, okay, probably your findings will be a bit different, okay, from other research. Is because of the context.
Okay.
Okay, so we explain it's because of the context. Our culture is different, right? Our organization commitment just now, OC in the Western is different from the OC in Malaysia. So if our finding is different, meaning that there's a different in culture, there's a different environment might be. So that is one of the discussions that you can put it in your, you can have in your discussion part.
Okay, Doctor.
All right. If it's me, the reader, okay, and I found that, okay, all the research that you quote here in the past studies are all the old research, yeah, not the latest 5 years or within that 5 years, and you quote all the 2000, 2001, or sometimes even some students have it 1997. Do you know what is it indicate? You actually did not read, okay, the articles, okay, or actually you did not read, okay, the original, okay, of the dissertation. You read other people's work and you quote from other people actually. Okay, you quote other people's work. It's not that you're reading it. You just based on one dissertation might be, and you quote. You are not reading the exact articles, or you are not actually reading and try to look at, okay, the analysis or whatever of the thesis or of the dissertation.
Okay, Doctor, one more question. Our literature study, we can look at the previous thesis or previous research.
Yep.
That will be our primary source. What about secondary source, Doctor? Can it be accepted in our research?
Okay. You can
Yeah.
have some of it whereby how actually that we use these people, okay, like
Legacy
Arnida,
of-
like Arnida 2021 in Raza, you know, meaning that, okay, right?
secondary.
Yes, okay. So you are
Yes.
actually referring to other people's work in other articles. It's not the
other people's
original, okay? You can
Yes.
have that. You can have that, but not too many.
Okay.
Not too many. Okay. When it comes to the research, when it comes to the research, because I know that you're only MED, okay. Of course, I'm not very strict, okay, on this. If you're master science or PhD, I will very strict on this. And sometimes I did not allow that in, okay. A in B or C in D, I'm not allowed it. Because for me, it's just like, okay, you read the articles and you found it, okay. A in B, okay, A in B, I will try to search A. I will Google and try my best to search A, because I just want to make sure whether the one that explained by B, is it actually the same meaning as what A is explained? I mean, have a discussion or what? Because we don't want to quote something that is not right. So it's better to read the original. And how you interpret, okay, it's not about writing other people's interpretation. All right. So this is one of the things, okay, that you need to be careful. Okay, you need to be careful, because sometimes when you read it, okay, you quote it from other people's, okay, you yourself did not understand what is it. Okay, and then when it comes during the presentation, okay, and then when we ask, okay, you don't know on how to explain it. Where do you get it from? Oh, I got it from this. Are you sure this is what actually it's stated there? And the meaning of it, sometimes we caught students doing it, okay, because we read the articles, we know what actually the articles explain. And then when we read your dissertation, it's a different explanation. So we know that you are not reading the original article. You are actually, okay, using other people's interpretation. Okay, so this is one of the things you need to read. Okay, you need to read. That's why we split dissertation in these two, okay, semesters, so that you can really doing it, okay, your proposal, and then doing when it comes to your chapter 4 and 5 the next semester. All right, so that is on 2.6.
Sorry,
Yes.
Doctor.
Yes, Wang.
If we quote the words of the experts from the journal article, should we quote the original sentence, which is the same as a journal?
Right.
Or should we rephrase? If
Okay.
we rephrase?
You can do both, yeah, you can do both. You can replace, but still quote the authors and the year. Okay, you can replace, but still quote the authors and the year. If you want to take, okay, the exact sentence, and you don't want to replace that, because you know that if you rephrase that, okay, the meaning will be different and you're not sure on how you want to do it. Okay, so you want to quote the sentence, the whole sentence, or might be you have like 2 sentences. Okay, so you can do that. Okay, you can do that. Okay, but then you need to use that quotations. Okay, if you have more than 2 sentences, if I'm not mistaken, you have to indent, make it center. Okay, make it center and still quote the authors and the year.
I think if it exceeds, it reach 4 lines and above.
Yep. Yes. 2 sentences, usually 4 lines. Yep. Okay, so you need to make, you need to how put it in the center. There's a margin. Okay, there's a margin that you need to still quote. So we know that, okay, you quote the exact sentences. You did not change it. Okay, and then, okay, if you feel that you can paraphrase that, okay, of course, okay, paraphrase that. And then sometimes, okay, I just a few weeks ago, okay, we had this one student who almost finishing and wanted to submit, okay, the PhD research, okay, and then when we read it, we found that so many original quotes. Okay, we can count that. Okay, when we flip the pages, like, okay, there's a quote here, the original quotes, and then we flip few more pages, oh, and there's another original quotes here. We request the student to paraphrase. Okay, not too many, please. Okay, not too many. All right, so that is on the quotes. Right, so when you quote as well, make sure the format, okay, last name and the year, okay, and then if Malaysian, okay, probably, okay, you need to decide, okay, whether you want to use just the first name or the first name with the family names, I mean the father's name, okay, and be be standard. If you're using just the first name for the Malaysian here, Muslims here, Malays, for the Malays, okay, we use just the first name, okay, and then standard for other author as well, use the first name. If you full name, and then make sure that you have all that full name. And sometimes, okay, you will see that, okay, in the article as well, okay, some authors would like to use the first name and some authors would like to use the last name. Okay, so just check on the in the article, okay, how actually that, okay, the author's quote, okay, quote, is it I mean his or her works, yeah, is it by first name or by last name? But if it's me, I prefer to use my first name. Okay, so sometimes, okay, it's also I mean you need to check on that one as well. Okay, but if you feel that, okay, if you want to use just the first name, be standardized for all first name, okay, for the Malays. For Chinese, usually we have, because since they have three names, right? I mean, yes, and then we usually spell it in full. Okay, spell it in full for the Chinese. Don't put the position like professor, doctor. No, you don't have to. Okay, just the first name and all the family names. Okay, without the positions of professor or doctor. Okay, in doing that literature review. Okay, so that is 2.6. All right, this is 1.6. Any other question? For those who have done or already have chapter 1 to 3, okay. Maybe you have a, yes.
Doctor, I have some questions,
Mhm.
but maybe my questions is simple.
Okay, no
Yeah,
problem.
yes. The first question is, well, what is the difference of introduction in chapter 1 and chapter 2?
Okay. In
Yeah,
chapter
yes.
okay. In chapter 1 is actually okay. I already explained it last week. In that introduction is where you introduce your DV first.
Oh,
Okay, yes, you introduce your DV. Okay, but here is more general. Yeah, just introduce your DV. What is the DV? What is the definition? Why is it the DV is so important? That is in chapter 1. Okay. In this chapter 2, you don't need to explain on the DV. Okay, because we already know your DV. So in this chapter 2, okay, 2.1 introduction is for you to explain what you have in your chapter 2. Okay, what you have in your chapter 2. Okay, so it probably will start, okay, in this chapter 2, okay, it will be the literature review, okay, of the past studies, and there will be a concept which related to the studies will be explained. So what you have in chapter 2, okay, what you have in chapter 2, right? The same for other introduction in chapter 3, 4 and 5 as well. Okay, so only introduction in chapter 1 where you introduce your DV. Okay. All right. Okay. Any other question?
Yes, I have. And the second
In what program
question,
are you, Shengnan?
TESOL.
Oh, TESOL. Okay, Shengnan. All right.
Yeah. And the second question is, you said we should reading a lot and we should list many different definitions and choose one and explain why do I choose this definition, and we should compare these definitions. But I want to ask what we should compare. What we should compare? Compare what?
Compare the definition.
Compare
the definition, because okay, when okay, like this one here in this 2.2, okay, definition, okay, not the concept, yeah, definition here. Okay, this is where actually that, okay, you will look at, right, when I say about this definition, okay, the definition authors, okay, you will find it different. Okay, authors A will define it differently. Authors B will have a different definition. Author C will have a different definition. So you are actually trying to compare these three definitions. Okay, what is it mean? Okay, by your DV, okay, from the view of authors A, from the view of authors B, and the view of author C. And then after you explain that, okay, so we have these three definitions. So in your study, which definition that you want to use?
Okay, I understand. So I think I think sorry,
Yes.
I think we should list them first, and we should select one. It's about my own topic.
Yes, yes, okay. Okay, let me look whether I have it here in looking, okay, right. Let me check, yeah. This is factors, all right. This is PhD work. Don't worry, this is a lot, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
historical reviews. Okay, let me check whether yeah. This is on self-satisfaction. You see this?
Yeah.
This author,
Mm.
and then you have like this author here.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yes.
Mm.
And then this author, all right. So this is
Yeah.
how actually that you're doing it. And towards the
Yeah.
end, okay, then you decide. So in this study, okay, what definition that you want to use based on all this, okay? So what definition that you want to use there, okay, you will take that and put in your chapter 1.
Yeah. Based
But-
on my own study.
Yes, based on your own study. You put it in chapter 1. Okay, but okay, of course you will not list down, okay? You will not list down all the or I mean if you have like 4 authors, okay, of course you will not list down all that 4 authors in your chapter 1. No. You just choose 1 or 2 only. Because we know that, okay, 1 or 2 that you choose probably is, okay, the best, okay, from other definitions that you have. Okay, so you put it in chapter 1 together with your own definition. So when we flip in chapter 2, we can still find that in your chapter 2.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So if
Okay.
you found it in chapter 1 and there is no in chapter 2, that is wrong. Okay,
Yes.
you must have the same definition in chapter 2 as well. All right. Okay.
And the last question is, could you give us a sample which you think which is a better proposal? Could you give us a sample? Let me to read it, and I want to imitate it because I think just listen to you talking. I think maybe sometimes it's a little abstract.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Because I think I am a simple person, so I, yeah.
Okay. There's okay, how to say it? Yeah. There's no perfect. Okay. In
Oh yeah.
thesis or the dissertation. There's no one thesis which is perfect. Okay, perfect. Right? Which I can actually give it to you as a sample. Okay, I mean there's no any dissertation so far that I found it that way. Okay, so because each of the thesis there must be something like, okay, they need to add a few things here, okay, they need to actually add a few things there. Okay, there's no perfect one. And the other thing is that, okay, from programs to programs, probably there's a bit difference, right? For program like yours is TESOL, okay, like me is educational administration, okay, so probably it's a bit different. Okay, so probably if you want to look at, okay, the example, okay, you refer, okay, based on your program.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you refer
Thank you.
yes, you refer based on your program.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay,
so
doctor.
you can actually, okay, I'm not sure whether you can actually assess, okay, the e-thesis or not from the library website. I'm not sure. Try, okay, please try. Okay, please try. Okay, so from there you will see the example. Okay, from there you will see the example. If we are actually in the face-to-face class, of course I can just get few samples from the library and show it to you. Okay, but now okay, we are not have the opportunity. Okay, it's only online class. Okay, there's no so far, okay, I can't actually give you one perfect thesis, right? So it is good you just refer to your programs. Okay, thesis according to your program. Okay, that is better. That is much better. All right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, right. So any other questions? 2.6. Nope. All right. Okay. I'm not sure about HRD. Is it the same as what actually that I actually explain it here? Is it related? Because I've never had any students, HRD students before. Those in HRD? Anyone? No? Okay. All right. So I go to 2.7. Okay. Just now we explain on the concept. the definitions, okay, as well as how to do the past studies. Now I want to explain on conceptual framework. Conceptual framework is very simple, okay, because the word there is concept. What concept that you use? So meaning that concept here is, okay, concept here is your DV and your IV. You only have these two variables, okay? So when you explain about your conceptual framework, okay, and you're doing correlational studies, okay, your conceptual framework, okay, should be simple like, okay, let me check whether I have that sample or not. This way. Just that, okay? So what is the IV here, okay, and what is the DV here, okay, and then there's an arrow from the IV to the DV. Okay, and if your IV and DV, okay, have dimension, then you put that the dimension ABC and you put that as well, dimension ABC for DV. Conceptual framework meaning that, okay, how you conceptualize, okay, your variable. Okay, since this is correlational studies, okay, of course, okay, the arrow between the IV and the DV indicates, okay, which one is the dependent and which one the independent, okay. So it will be, okay, the arrow here meaning that, okay, this is the DV and this IV, and there's a relationship between the IV and the DV. Okay, so you need to have these diagrams or figures in your section of conceptual framework.
Okay, Doctor, I have a question. The research framework, we have this kind of arrow to show the relationship between IV and DV, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is our framework. But
Yeah.
what if along the way when we have the findings, such as one of the dimension here becomes the mediator. So will we change? Can we just change the research framework? I mean, once we have done 1 to 5, for example, chapter 1 to 5, then
okay.
somehow or other in between we find out that one of the dimension becomes the mediator. So we have to change the research framework. How that?
Raza, we can't have one. We can't have one of the dimension become the mediator. It has to be the whole variable become the mediator. This is what usually we have in PhD, not in MED, not in MED, not in Master Science. Master Science and MED, we did not encourage doing mediator. If you have that mediator, okay, I'll show you. This is, okay, the conceptual framework will be. I think I found that. Let me look. Yes, this one. Okay, yes, this one. This is why you have the mediator. You see the mediator there?
Yeah.
Okay. So yours is you don't have the mediator. You only look at the IV and the DV. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So if you have a mediator, you must have one more variable. It's not by dimension. It's not any of the dimension become the mediator. No. Okay. But for your case, I mean, for your dissertation, you don't need mediator. Okay. You only need the IV and the DV. Go straight. There's nothing in the middle between the IV and the DV. If you're doing PhD, it's a must.
Oh.
Okay, if you're doing PhD, it's a must to have mediator or moderator. Like this one, from the IV to the mediator to the DV, meaning that the one in the middle is actually helping, okay, to improve, okay, the DV. Okay, and then we have one more which is moderator, which is like this one is actually from I mean, there's a middle, like moderator is intersect. How to say intersect? It's not in the between, suddenly it came up. Okay, the arrow will be from above to down. Okay, that is moderator. Moderator, but that is PhD. Okay, that is PhD. You don't need that. Okay,
Because
just
I
a simple.
found some of the articles when I don't really understand. Oh my God.
No, you
I
don't
don't have
have. Okay, so you only have IV and DV. But if you have 2 IV, of course you need to have one more box. Yeah, if you have one more IV, you need to have one more box, where from that box the arrow to the DV. Okay, usually for MED, okay, 1 IV, okay, it's acceptable. For master sign, we need 2. All right. So simple one. Okay, you're looking into the relationship between IV and the DV. Okay, if you're looking into the difference, if you look at the difference, probably there will be one more box here. Okay, whereby the gender. Okay, where that one is actually you have the arrow is actually towards the box. Okay, whereby actually your indicates that we are looking into the difference of gender. Okay, and then only focus on the DV. All right. So when you let me sorry. Okay, let me conceptual framework. Okay, let me Google conceptual framework. Conceptual framework in research. Okay. Yeah, like this one. Okay, this is mediator just now, right? Because there's something in between. If we don't have this box, it's only from here to here, the IV to the DV. Okay, and this, like this one, okay, this is the one that moderator just now. It's not between, but there's an arrow intersect in between the variable. That is moderator. Okay, meaning that, for the mediator, meaning that mediator is actually helps, to improve, to improve the DV. But here meaning that, there's this moderator, this variable is actually, it's there or it's not there. Okay, we just need to know whether it exists or not. Okay, whether that variable is actually exists or not between the IV and the DV. That's why it's moderator. Okay, in MED you don't have to worry. Okay, you don't have to worry. Okay, because that is a very basic one. Okay, where you only need to focus on IV and the DV. Okay, what else? You don't need to do the complicated one. Yeah, like this one. Okay, so 2 IV, right? 2 IV and 1 DV. Okay, so the arrow, different arrow towards the DV. Okay, so if it's this way, I don't suggest you to do this kind of arrow. What does it mean if you have this line here, this way? You are actually combining all this towards the DV. Okay, so you are looking actually differently in each of the variable here. We have 3 variables here. So that's why the arrow need to be different from variable 1 to here, variable 2 to here, variable 3 to here. Okay, don't do like this way, because if you do like this way, meaning that you're combining all that to the DV. We're not combining. We're looking the relationship, each of the IV to the DV.
This one shed some light, because before this I've seen this kind of graph, but I don't know how to relate that. Oh, that means this is a combination, yeah?
Yeah, because here you combine all this, combine all that towards one. Okay, you combine towards one. Okay, so need to do this way. Different arrow to the DV. That is much more clear. You are looking into correlation of the IV and DV, and you have several IV. Okay, so I think it's clear on this chapter 2. Okay, right? For those who are doing qualitative, okay, of course you don't have IV and DV, but you need to have a topic. For example, Huang just now is innovation, right? Okay. Or for example, we just example of Huang. Okay, if it's innovation, then of course, okay, you need to explain, okay, on the concept, the definition of innovation, the concept of innovation. Okay, if you're looking into the implementation, you need to have a section on implementation of innovation. Okay, and when it comes to the past studies, okay, this is where the same thing. When it comes to past studies, okay, you focus on the topics. Okay, focus on the topic. Okay, if it's implementation of innovation, then you just explain, okay, all the past studies, okay, looking at the same topic. Okay, looking at the same topic. And probably in qualitative, we only have one theory, one or two. Okay, look at how actually that, okay, you design, okay, the studies. Okay, sometimes, okay, only one theory is enough, okay, for qualitative, and sometimes it's required two. Okay, so we look at, okay, how we want to explain that when it comes to the theory. Okay, why is it theory is so important in this study is, okay, here is for you to explain how do you apply the theory in your research based on your IV and DV. Okay, that's why theory is very important. Okay, because your contribution is the theory. Okay, probably you find something new, okay, your finding is something new. So you contribute, okay, towards the theory as well, to make sure that whether whatever that the theory say is right or not. Okay, that's why theory is very important in research. Okay, because this is academic research. But when it comes to action research, okay, I had discussion with Raza before. Okay, when it comes to action research, we don't require theory at all. Okay, because we focus on improvements of our students. We don't require, okay, theory. Okay, that's why in this research, okay, action research, okay, it's not allowed. Okay, we want a real research, original research, where we focus on the theory. Okay, so that is on the dissertations. All right, so I think it's all covered for chapter 2. Okay, any question before I proceed to chapter 3?
Okay, one last question, Doctor, on conceptual framework. I've read few articles or journals research. Some use conceptual framework, some use theoretical framework,
Okay.
some use operational framework.
Wait, theoretical framework and conceptual framework is two different things.
Okay.
Theoretical framework is, okay, you explain, okay, based on the theory. Okay, how many theory that you use? Probably you use 3 or 4 theory. So how do you actually, okay, apply this theory in your research? That is theoretical framework. And how this theory actually relates to your variable, your IV and DV. That is theoretical framework. Let me check this PhD work, whether this is the conceptual. Yeah. But this is not the right one. This is not the right framework. Okay, because it should explain about the theory instead. Okay, but here, okay, you will see that it's explained. I mean, the one that highlight here, it's all the variables. Okay, I mean the IV and the DV. Okay, so when it comes to the conceptual framework, is you explain the theory. When it comes to when it comes to theoretical framework, you explain based on the theory. When it comes to conceptual framework, you explain based on the variables. In dissertation, we usually focus on conceptual framework. Okay, we usually focus on conceptual framework. Okay, but for master science students, okay, as well as for PhD, we focus on both. Okay, theoretical and conceptual. Because in the conceptual, you don't see any theory there. There's no box of theory in conceptual framework. No. Okay. But in theoretical framework, the box, whatever it's in the box is the theory. Okay, whatever in the box is the theory. How do you relate that theory A to theory B to theory C? Okay, which theory A is actually for which variable? Theory B is for which variable? Okay, that is theoretical framework. Okay. All right. Any more question before I proceed to chapter 3? No. All right. Okay. So this is chapter 3. I guess this is the one that everyone already taken it have actually learned about this chapter 3, which is on research methodology. Research methodology, which is many of you have taken it last semester. And then you still remember whatever that you have learned. So here is actually when you learn in the research methodology last times, you learn about the concepts. Here is you want to relate the concept and apply it in your study. The concept and apply it in your study. First of all, in this chapter 3, of course we have introduction. Like I have mentioned just now, this is where actually that you introduce what are the sections or what are the things that you want to explain in this chapter. You put it as introduction. 3.2, you explain about the research design. So what does it mean, the research design here? First is what is the approach? Whether it's quantitative or qualitative. That is approach. And then what is the design? If it's relationship, the design is actually correlational studies. If it's qualitative, probably the design will be case study. So you need to explain these two things, the approach and the design of the study. So when you explain these two, you need to actually as well support by actually quotes any research method books or articles that relate to your study. And give a justification. Why is it the approach you use quanti? And why is it when it comes to quanti and then you decide the design will be correlational? How is it correlational? Suitable in your study. So you need to explain that with the quote or support, from the research method books or from any articles. So that is on research design. Just focus on the approach and just focus, on the design. Location, where? Where is the location? And then when you explain where is the location, you need to give justification why you choose that location. Not simply just, I want to do it in Kajang or in UPM Sedang and you full stop there. No. You need to expand why UPM Sedang. Why UPM Sedang. That is on location. All right. And then we have 3.4, which is population and sample. This is two different things here. Population and sample. First, you explain about population. Who is your population? Is it students? Usually in TESOL, they will use students, right? But us in education admin, we don't use students. We use teachers. We use the headmasters. We use the principal. Who? Population is who is your respondent? And why you choose that respondent? So is there any criteria actually, that you decide, why is it that you choose that population? And then, you focus on from that population, of course, a sample. Sample here, you can divide into two. Okay. Sampling, the number of sampling that you need or you require. And the second one, the sampling strategies. Two things. Okay. So how many from the population, how many samplings that you require? Usually this one, okay, the easiest way is just to look at the table Krigi and Morgan. Right? You still remember that for your research method, Krigi and Morgan?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, just look at Krigi and Morgan and decide. Okay, the numbers. Okay, that is sampling number, sampling size. Okay, after you have that sampling size, okay, you need to decide, okay, how you choose the sampling. That is sampling strategies. What is the sampling strategies that you have learned last semester?
Convenience sampling,
Convenience
etc.,
sampling.
etc.
Etc. etc. Okay, convenience, convenience sampling. What else? Random sampling, cluster, stratified, right?
Strata. Yes, yes.
Strata, stratified. Okay. So that is, okay, you need to decide which type of sampling strategies here that you, okay, choose in order for you, okay, to choose the sampling based on the number that you got, okay, from that Krigi and Morgan table. Okay, so this is where actually that sometimes, okay, you need to put it in tables. Yeah, how many schools, okay, that you decide, okay, how many schools that you decide. Probably maybe you just focus on one district, okay, so in one district, how many schools that you decide, whether you want to choose all school or you actually choose only certain school. That is different between stratified and, okay, strata. Stratified is strata, okay. There's a difference between what is it, cluster. Okay, stratified and cluster. Okay, so you need to decide on that. Okay, the number and the sampling strategies. That is on population and sample. Okay, some students, okay, like if you have, okay, a sampling, okay, I mean you decide to do research, okay, might be among students, okay, in the district of in the district of Serdang, for example. Okay, so your population will be students, okay, students in the district of, okay, Serdang. Okay, that is your population. And then you look at the Krigi and Morgan table, okay, and you decide, oh, okay, I need to have might be 120 students. Okay, probably 120 students based on the Krigi and Morgan table. But you need to think when you say that, okay, students from the district of Serdang, how many school is involved in that district? Okay, from there you need to count how many school in the district of Serdang. Okay, so here, if there is 10 district of school, okay, these 10 schools in the district of Serdang, are you actually taking all students from each school or you only decide on few school? Okay, so this is a different sampling strategies that you need to think of. Okay, sebab dah kalau bahasa, I mean, in bahasa Melayu, you say kelompok dengan strata. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, in English, it will be, okay, cluster and stratified. Two different things here, strata and stratified. Stratified is usually where it's by level, like just now, okay, by level, from the district to the schools, okay, and then when we already choose school, we need to choose the student. So that is the level. So that is stratified. Okay, stratified. Sometimes people will say random stratified, meaning that, okay, just random choose which one, but stratified, which is the level of it. If it's cluster, meaning that, okay, you actually try randomly pick might be 10 school, randomly pick 5 school. This is why actually that you have clustered it. Okay, so this is the strategy that you need to think of when it comes to your research. And how many sampling numbers that is the best? Okay, usually for MED, okay, I usually suggest my students to have, okay, between about 120, I mean less than 200, okay, less than 200. And if you have 150, it's just fine. 120, 150 is okay, but it should be more than 100, not less than 100. If it's less than 100, that is a final year project for bachelor. Okay, for masters should be more than 100. Okay, if possible, get about 150 respondent. Okay, and then you explain on the instrumentation, what instruments that you use. Okay, like if it's DV and IV, of course you have 2 instruments. Okay, so in these instruments, you need to explain who is the owner, in what year is that instrument, how many dimensions that you have, I mean that in that instruments, okay, what liquids that the instrument use, okay, what liquids, okay, as well as how many questions, okay, for the instruments, okay, and as well as is there any negative questions, okay, in the instruments. You need to explain that. Okay, a bit detail on that one. Okay, because we want to check. First of all is how many questions, okay, and then as well as, okay, we want to check is there any negative items, because when is there an, if there is any negative items, you have to record, okay, when you key in, okay, the data in the SPSS, right? If there is no negative items, then it's fine. Okay, you don't have to record. All right. And then I go into the validity and reliability. Okay. When it comes to validity, there's 2 parts of validity, which is the content validity, okay, and then, okay, language validity. If you translate the instrument, okay, from English to your language, okay, or from other language to English. If there is a translation, okay, so you are required to do language validity as well. So how actually that you can use it, I mean, how actually that you can apply this in research, okay. When it comes to content validity, is for you to prepare the instrument and give any experts. Okay, when I say any experts, probably any lecturers, okay, in your programs, in your field of studies, okay, to check the content. Okay, if of course we in education administration, we have few, okay, education administration lecturer, go and ask, okay, whether they can check, okay, your instrument or not. Prepare a letter, okay, stated that, okay, to invite them to become a validation, I mean, to validate your instruments. Okay, so that is in terms of content, which is the expert contents. Okay, if you translate the questions from English to Malay or from English to Chinese, you need to have one more expert, which is the language expert to validate, okay, to validate, okay, whether your translation is actually the right translation. So 2 person. Okay, the content validator and the language validator. Okay, so you need to have that in terms of validity. When it comes to reliability, you don't have to worry because you will run Cromba Alpha. Right, you will run Cromba Alpha. Okay, this is where usually 0.65 is already accepted overall. So when you run Cromba Alpha, okay, you can actually check by variables and as well as overall. Okay, as well as meaning that the Cromba Alpha for IV, Cromba Alpha for DV, and the overall Cromba Alpha. Okay, that is on reliability. Pilot studies, okay, you already have the population there. You're not taking all, right? Because it's just a sampling. So you can choose, okay, any of the people in the population. Okay, when it comes to quantitative, for you to run pilot studies and to key in and to get Cromba Alpha, you must have at least 30 students or 30 respondents, 30 respondent. Okay, then only, okay, it will be good for you to run the Cromba Alpha. I would suggest sometimes students to have about 40. Okay, when I said 30, so when you give that pilot study, okay, when you do the pilot study, okay, please give the questions, okay, don't exactly 30, make it 40 or 50, because you don't know how many of them will return your questions, right? So a bit more that, okay, so that you can have exactly 30 respondents for your pilot study and for you to run Cromba Alpha. Right, so that is reliability. Okay. Procedure and data collection, this is simple. Okay, you just explain on the process. Okay, whereby what are the things that you required, like you're taking approvals from the Ministry of Education, approvals from the institutions. You just explain the process. Okay, you just explain the process. Right, and then okay. Data analysis. Okay, data analysis, you have to decide. Okay, since you have 3 research questions, research question 1, research question 2, research question 3. 1 which is focus on level, okay, and 2 as well focus on level, right? So of course, okay, this is a descriptive analysis, okay, whereby it's only focused on mean and standard deviation. Or some people will add percentage. Okay, but for me, if you have mean, the most important thing is mean and standard deviation. Okay, and then when it comes to correlation, of course, you will run Pearson correlation. Okay, so you explain that in each of the research question, how do you want to analyze, okay, your data? Explain that, all right, and then put it in the table. Okay, the research question, and then the next column will be how you want to analyze it, the summary of it. Okay, first explain and then put it in a table as a summary. Right, and then when it comes to the final section, of course, is summary. Okay, just briefly what you have actually explained in the whole chapter there. Okay, so that is on chapter 3. Any questions?
Okay, question, Doctor. Pilot study, not all quantitative research will do pilot study, but all experimental research will do pilot study. Is that right, Doctor?
Quantitative, you required to do, or it's a must for you to do pilot study for quantitative. Okay, for qualitative, okay, actually, if it's what actually that I have learned, okay, for qualitative, we don't have pilot study, okay, because, but we actually running what we call as try to ask questions. Yeah, we try to ask questions whether all the questions actually can be answered, okay, by the respondents. If the respondent can answer the questions, okay, we can actually take that as our real data. That is in quali. But these days, I see that, okay, many okay, it's in Viva sometimes, you know, they ask about pilot studies in qualitative as well. Okay, so it's just that for you to run, okay, for you to run the session, the interview session, and make sure that the respondent able to answer your question. Okay, if they're able to answer your question, you're fine. If the respondent is not able to answer your question, then you have to actually, okay, check, okay, how to improve and where to improve. Okay, when it comes to questions, the same as quantitative. If your Cromba Alpha is 0.65, is fine. okay, can be accepted. Okay, but if it's below than 0.5, I mean 0.65, okay, sorry, 0.65, okay, if you get that as your Cronbach alpha, then you need to check. Okay, you need to check. Okay, why is it, okay, it's that below 0.65? This is sometimes, it's in that SPSS, okay, they will suggest that if you remove this item, it will increase the Cronbach alpha. They have a suggestions there. Okay, when you run, they have a suggestion. Okay, might be you remove 2 items, then it will increase because that 2 items probably not related, okay, to your variables. Right. So when you run your SPSS, then they will, like, I mean, it's the system, I mean the SPSS will actually suggest, okay, whether you should remove, okay, the question. This is what we call as outliers. Okay, outliers, meaning that, okay, the item is not measure the variable. Okay, the item is not measure the variable. So when we remove that, okay, then probably the Cronbach alpha, okay, will be high, increase, okay, will be increased. But if you already reach 0.65, you're fine. You don't have to worry. Okay, it is just sometimes you got 0.5, 0.55, you know, so this is why you need to check. Okay, this is why you need to check.
Okay, Doctor, meaning that pilot study, we will only carry out when the Cronbach alpha is below 0.65. It is more than 0.65, then it's okay.
Okay, yes,
Is
because
it
when
compulsory regardless of whatever result of our Cronbach alpha we have to do a pilot study for quantitative return? Because I'm not really sure about the pilot study.
pilot study is actually to check whether your instrument is good or not, or measure the variables or not. That's why we only need 30 students for you to run the SPSS. Some student will probably put it as, will probably just choose 20. But for me, is the bigger the number is better. Okay, the bigger the number is better, but 30 is enough. Okay, 30 is just enough for you, okay, to actually get the Cronbach alpha. Okay, when you
But
run,
this respondents will be in our population, right, Doctor?
what is it?
The respondent for pilot
Yes.
study is part of our population,
Yes.
right?
It parts
Okay,
of
but
your
it's not part of our
population,
sampling.
and you did not send to the same person again because that is already your
Okay.
pilot. You send to
Okay.
other people. That is not
So
your pilot.
that means the respondent is in our population, but not in our sampling, yeah?
Yes. Not in
Right.
your population, but not in your sampling. That's true.
Okay, Doctor.
Okay. All right. So that is one of very important things there. Okay. You did not send them both, I mean, 2 times, you know, the same questions. No. Okay. All right. So any other question?
Okay, Doctor, one more question about the content validity. Just now you said we have to get to appoint the validator. Can it be the lecturers from our universities or outside? Another question is, should we study whether his previous background is related to our study or something to get the validator? Can it be any lecturers?
Okay. It must be content expert. When I say content expert, meaning that that person must expert in the field, especially if we education admin. So if you can just send it to any education administration lecturer. But then if you are education admin, you send it to TESOL teachers. Okay, of course they don't know, you know, because we are more on the leaderships. Okay, of course they don't know on that. Okay, how to measure all that leaderships. Okay, so content expert meaning the person in the field. Okay, it can be someone in UPM. It can be someone as well outside UPM because we have other universities. We have UKM, which is nearby, right? So if they have experts, okay, in the area, we can just send it to them. For MED, usually I just ask them to send it to our lecturers, okay? But for master science, Okay, and PhD, I would suggest, okay, people outside UPM. One in UPM, one more outside UPM, because we want to look at, suggestion from these two different people. Okay, so that we know on how we want to arrange or we want to change, okay, our instruments, okay, if we are required to do it. Because if we have two people looking at it, okay, it's much more better. But for MED, one is enough. Okay, and sometimes, okay, we can also ask help from those the experts from the IPG. Okay, we can as well, okay, ask them. Okay, as long as someone expert check our instrument. Okay, that is why, okay, because we need the validity. Okay, content validity. Any other question on this chapter 3? Everything clear? Or you don't understand at all? Everybody was so quiet. Only Raza is asking question. Is it okay, everyone?
Okay, Doctor.
All right, that's good. Okay, that's good. Okay, so no questions, okay, for chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3.
Doctor, if I have a chance, can I just get your comment on my conceptual framework, because
yeah.
I think I need to get your comment here.
Okay, sure, Raza, you can just email it to me. Okay, you can just look at it. All right, so don't worry on that one. Okay, so
thank you.
all right, so if there is no question, so I would like to proceed, okay, to our first presentation, which is next week. Okay, you can get the templates in the Putra Blast. Okay, I already put it there in the Putra Blast. Okay, the templates from the first presentation. Okay, in the first presentation here, okay, we only focus on 10 slides here, because this presentation will only be 5 minutes presentation. Okay, right? So this is what you need to have, okay, in the first presentation. You start with the research topics, okay, all your details here, of course, the student photo if possible, because I can't see everyone here. So if I look at that photo, probably I can remember who you are, okay, and then the background of the studies, okay, you explain on the context, okay, if it's related to any government policies, okay, and then explain the context of the research variable or constructs, or the constructs and dimensions, yeah. Okay, and then, okay, we have problem statement. What is the main issue? Justify why your study is urgent or important, okay, importance to be carried out. Okay, and then we have research objective. Okay, what is the research objective? What is the research question? Okay, so this is where usually when it comes to research objective, I already explained it to you. Probably you only have two, which is one is looking at the level, and second probably looking into the relationship. And then when it comes to question, you probably have three, which is the level of IB, the level of DV, and then as well as, okay, the third one will be the relationship between the IB and the DV. Okay, so if you're doing the t-test, so this is where I see the comparing, the difference, yeah. If you're not doing it, it's fine, okay, because the difference is not compulsory, okay, so it's up to you whether you want to look at it. Because if you want to look at the difference, okay, I think I already explained it to you. If you want to look at the difference, you must actually read literature review, find literature review that say there's a difference between the gender. If there is a research saying that there's a difference between gender, then only, okay, you are actually able to do the difference. Okay, you can't just simply, oh, I just want to look at the gender, I just want to look at this. No, it must based on literature review. Literature review say that there's a difference in gender, then you can do it. If the literature review say that there's no difference in gender, why is it that you need to do it? Okay, so you need to check on that first, then only you do it if you want to look at the difference. All right, and then, okay, here is definition of terms, okay, or just now is operational definitions, okay, and you can just change here, operational definitions. And then, okay, we have theory, okay, we have what theory that you use, okay, just name it, okay, the theory, the two theory that you use. okay, so that I know what is the theory, okay, and then, okay, previous studies, okay, name of the DV, okay, what is it, the name of DV here, and how many studies, okay, on the DV, and then previous studies might be on the IV, okay, previous studies on the DV, and then you explain on the the conceptual framework or research framework here. Okay, so the relationship between the IV and the DV. Right. So when it comes to this, when it comes to these previous studies, probably you can actually change it a bit here. Okay, where you can just explain, based on the research questions. Okay, the IV, the DV, and then the relationship between the IV and DV. Okay, so it just better to do that way. Okay, and then a simple just a simple one here whereby you explain what is the research design, okay, what is the population, how many sample size, what is the sample technique, and what is the instrument. That is just enough for, okay, your presentation one. Okay, so this is just, okay, to actually explain to the whole class, okay, your ideas in research. Okay, from here, okay, then only we try to improve it. Okay, and next when it comes to the second presentation, it will be a 10 minutes presentation. Then only you will go more details in explaining, okay, all the slides here. Okay, so this is just 5 minutes presentations. Okay, so a very quick one. Okay, so at least I know and what is your topic. I know that, okay, you really have a good research question. Okay, and then the research objective as well. Okay, and then you have the right, okay, conceptual framework. Okay, and then you have the right problem statements. Okay, so it's just for me to have an idea what you want to do, and as well as to explain it to the whole class what you want to do. Okay, so you can get these templates. Okay, you can get these templates in the Putra Blast. Make sure that, okay, it is no more than 10 slides. Okay, because it's only 5 minutes. Okay, presentation. Sometimes when it comes to this slide, you don't have to explain. Maybe you just show, okay, I have 2 research objective, okay, and then I have 3 research questions, okay, because it's already stated that research question and research objective, right? So you don't need to explain it in details on that. Okay, so that is our first presentations, okay, format starting from next week. Okay, so I actually have arranged, okay, wait. Yeah. I have arranged the timetable for next week. Okay, so starting from next week is a fasting month, okay, for the Muslim, which is Ramadan. Okay, I would like, I hope that we can start a bit late, okay, at 8:30, so that all the Muslims can have time, okay, for our to break our fast, okay, and then have time as well to do our prayers, okay, before we start the class and we start the presentation. Okay, so I hope that everybody don't have any problem with that. Okay, we start at 8:30. All right, because azan, we will break our fast about 7:20, 7:25 like that. So at least we have 1 hour, okay, to break our fast and to do the prayers. Okay, and then we can focus, okay, for the presentation. So next week, okay, this is just based on the attendance. I know that whoever at number 1, this is the seniors, okay, they're already in semester 3, okay, if I'm not mistaken, okay. So here, okay, we start at 8:30, okay, and then we finish at 8:45. Everyone have a 15 minutes, yeah, because 5 minutes, okay, for you to present and 10 minutes for us to discuss, okay, how we want to improve. Okay, how we want to improve your research and if there is any changes that you need to do. So we will discuss a bit more on how the changes is, okay, the improvement that we need to do. Okay, so we have only 5%, okay, next week. I hope that, okay, all the 5%, okay, will be ready. Okay, this 5% ready, okay, next week. And then a week after that, okay, we have 6%. Okay, and still start at 8:30, yeah. Okay, and we finish a bit late, yeah. Okay, and then the third week we have 6%. Okay, again the 6%, right? And then, okay, the last week, which is the 4th week, okay, we have another 6%. Okay, and a week after this, okay, it's a midterm break. Okay, a week after this is a midterm break. Coming from the midterm break, which is week 8, okay, we will discuss back like this. Okay, I will explain it to you, or you ask me a question. We had a discussion on how is it the changes that you have done. Do you have any problem with it? And then we only start the second presentation in week 9. Okay, in week 9. So I will put this timetable, okay, in the Putra Blast later. I hope that, okay, all of you agree with the arrangement. Okay, and if you want to swap, okay, if you think that you want to present early, maybe you can just swap with your friend, okay, if you want to. But okay, if possible, just stick to the week, okay, that I actually have scheduled for you. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, don't worry, don't feel scared or whatever it is. Okay, we are not here actually to find your faults or to actually make a comment. Okay, we are not actually trying to find, okay, the mistake that you made. No. Okay, we are here to help you to improve, okay, your proposal. That is the main intention. Okay, you don't need to scare or whatever it is. Okay, you just present whatever idea that you have, and we will try our best to help you to improve your presentation. I mean, to improve your proposal, okay, as well as learn about how to improve presentation, because, okay, you need to learn about presentation skill as well. Okay, you need to learn about presentation skill as well. All right, any question? No? All right, I hope everyone's will be ready, okay, for their turn. Starting, there will be 5 people next week. And Gong, how to pronounce this? Gong Ao, are you here? No. San Jinwo, not here as well. Gong, yes, Gong is here. Gong, do you hear me?
Hello, hello,
Okay.
doctor. I'm
So
here.
you are,
I'm listening.
all right. You are the first person next week, yeah?
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
I know.
Okay. Thank you, Gong. Okay. Get
Thank you.
ready. All right. And then we have Sun. Okay. Sun Jin Mu.
Hello. It's me.
Ah.
I'm listening.
Okay. All right. So you are here. So next week it
Okay.
will be your turn. Okay. Akta Ayesha.
Assalamualaikum,
Waalaikumsalam.
Doctor. I'm
Yes.
also here.
All right. That's good. Okay. And then we have New Yuan.
Hello, doctor. I'm here.
All right, that's good. And then the last one, okay, for next week will be Ji Yutong.
Yes, doctor.
All
I'm here.
right, that's good. So I hope that everybody know that, okay, especially these 5, okay, students know that it will be your turn next week. Okay, as I mentioned, don't feel scared, don't feel panic. Okay, relax and present. Okay, relax and present. Will help you, okay, to improve your proposal. All right, so I will put this in the Putra Blast, yeah? Okay, I'll put this in the Putra Blast. So any questions, everyone? Before we postpone the class, okay? And then we see next week. If any one of you have any question, you can just WhatsApp, okay? You can just ask in our WhatsApp group, okay? So that I can actually answer it, okay? If you're while doing your research or whatever, you're having a problems or whatever it is, okay, you can just WhatsApp. Okay, I will try my best, okay, to reply, okay, and answer your questions. Right. So don't forget, okay, to key in your attendance. Okay, I already put the links, okay, in the WhatsApp group. Okay, and then if there is no question, so we stop here, okay, for today. Okay, and then see all of you next week. Okay, and then we will look at our first presentation next week. Okay, and then what else? I think that's all. Yeah, you can find the templates or the presentations, okay, in the Putra Blast. Okay, the design that I have there, okay, you can just change it. Okay, you just change the design, but still the same content. Yeah, the design you can change. You don't have to use the slide designs that I actually use there. Okay, you can just change the design, but then make sure that you have the contents of all the 10 slides there. Right, that is much more important. The content is much more important. Right. So that's all, everyone. Okay, have a good weekend. Okay, everyone. And then as well as for the Muslims, okay, happy Ramadan. Next week we will start, okay, fasting. Okay, for those might be in Malaysia, okay, especially non-Muslim, okay, might be you can try to fast. Okay. So I mean, if it's face to face, then will be good sometimes. You know, we will stop. You know, during the breaking the fast, and then we actually eat together usually. You know, and then just stop for 15 minutes. Have maybe just kuih, and then water. Okay, and after that we continue back with discussions. Okay, that's how actually that. If it's face to face, okay, before, you know, but now it's, we start our class a bit late at 8:30. So hope everybody already like finish everything, okay, and then just focus on the class. All right, so that's all, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, bye. Assalamualaikum.
Salam, Barata.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you, Doctor. See
Okay,
you next week.
okay, yep. See you next week. Yes.